Hey YouTube, it's the New York Half-Ass Prepper here. Decided to make a little video about selecting a generator. Now, this generator in front of you here is kind of like the whole house type. It runs on propane. In fact, here's the propane cylinder that I got it connected to. This is a 100-pound cylinder. Holds about 24 gallons of propane. This generator will run on natural gas also. There's a little button or a little switch that you move to the other side and it'll run on natural gas. So if you have natural gas available at your house, you have an unlimited supply of fuel. Now this generator is designed to come on automatically and power the circuits that are connected to it automatically in the event of an outage. So if you're like me and you have a job that requires you to be away from your house for a week or a day or overnight, a couple days, this is the way to go. A lot of wives, my wife included, are not going to get out there and pull a pull start engine and make connections and switch circuit breakers and all of that stuff. So this would be the way to go. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't have natural gas available, I suggest you get a bigger propane cylinder than this. This is what I used to test it. I had a couple of these and I got this to test them and troubleshoot the engines and so forth. But I picked this up on Craigslist for 800 bucks. And since I already have a whole house diesel set, it's basically a backup, and I was actually going to sell it to my sister, but she has no generator at all at her house. But this does require some installation. You need an electrician. You need some skills to get this guy in your house. But it's a good setup. Now, most people have a generator. You got to bear with me. I got a lot of shit in my yard, and I don't know how to edit, so I'm just going to walk over here. Most people have generators like this, and these are fine. They work all right. The only problem is it runs on gasoline. There's a gas engine on there. You have to pull start it. There's a little pull start on the side there. So if the power goes out at 3 o'clock in the morning, you got to get out. You got to wheel this thing out, make sure it's full of fuel, and you got to pull start it, and then you got to connect a wire from here to your electrical inlet, and so on and so forth. It's a big ordeal, but it does get the job done. Now, this one I got on Craigslist for a couple $100 bucks. A kid was selling it. He had no use for it. So I like the Kawasaki engines, so I picked it up. And it just sits around as my backup. It's sitting out here rotting away outside. I actually want to tear it all down and rebuild it. But I've had Kawasaki before. They're excellent. The engines hold up and they last. The little Chinese ones, I don't recommend you buy them because they don't last. They're throwaways. Use it for one storm and you can throw the thing in the garbage afterwards. Now the only problem with this is once you run out of gasoline, that's it. No more electricity. And I know from experience that you cannot buy gasoline during a power outage. It takes electricity to run the pumps at the gas station, so all the gas stations are going to be closed. I've never run across a gas station that had a backup generator and that could actually sell gasoline or other fuels during an outage. Most of them are they just close up and they go home. So gasoline is one of those things that you cannot get during an outage. So you have to stock up ahead of time. You have to have plans in advance to have storage or siphon the fuel out of your vehicles in order to keep this thing running, to keep your house from freezing or keep your house from overheating in the summertime. So that's why I recommend a propane or some other type of fuel for your generator. But these things are cheaper. They're smaller, they're portable. You can usually get a solution for these kind of generators without hiring an electrician and a plumber and all that other nonsense. Now, what I use, we'll walk over here if you bear with me, is I went over the top because I happen to be an electrician by trade. I have a master's license, so it came kind of natural. And I have a job that takes me away from my home from a week at a time. So I have a diesel generator. Now that gray box on there is the auto start. So this generator will actually start up by itself and switch the power over if there is an outage. And here's my tank for it. I just put the sheetrock up in here. But there's the exhaust system, which I'm going to redo because I'm not happy with it. And that's the conduit that supplies power into the house. And then there's an outlet over there to run the, there's a block heater on this thing for the winter. And there's a, I'm going to put a little battery charger, a little trickle charger for the battery. And here's my fuel. My fuel tank was free. I found it in the garbage. I cleaned it out. And I converted this 55-gallon poly drum into a fuel tank. Now I have another fuel tank that's made out of steel ready to go, but I want to finish the inside of the shack here. I want to get all the renovations done in the shack, and I'm still working on the venting. I'm not happy with the amount of air that's coming into the generator. But this is what I use, and I'm not saying that, I mean, this was expensive. And I'm an electrician, but I absorbed a lot of the labor and stuff installing this. But this is the way to go. If you want the Cadillac, you want the Mercedes-Benz of generators, this is the way to go. This is an Isuzu 3-cylinder set, 12.5 kilowatts. It powers my entire house, everything in my house, every light, air conditioner, laundry, hot water, furnace, everything. TVs with this set right here. And I have enough fuel. This is enough fuel to run it for a week at half a load. And I have this tank here, which I'm going to install eventually. 165 gallons. That's enough fuel to run it for 2 weeks. Now, everybody doesn't need that. Generally, you need about 3 days. Although, the outage that we just had in the middle states, Maryland and parts of Pennsylvania, in that area that we just had over the summer, they were out of power for about a week to 10 days in some areas. So you may want to think about extending your storage to accommodate that. I remember it used to be years ago, power used to be out for a couple hours and then to get it back on, and then, but nowadays it seems the outages seem to be getting longer and longer. So you may want to think about being able to run your generator for at least a week at half a load. So that's it. That's my video on generator selection. If you have any comments or if you want to enlighten me on anything I said, leave it in the comments. New York FS Prepper, I'm out.